Well, everyone, thank you for attending this session on how to benefit from reality capture. My name is Tom Finkel with Imaginet Technologies. Most people will know Imaginet as a Autodesk reseller. We're platinum level there, but we do so much more than just AutoCAD. And part of that is talking about reality capture, because that's where we're seeing a lot of attention here these days right now. And we partner with Leica. We're able to sell their scanners, and really that's how it's coming into play with facilities management. So really, we're going to be talking about the benefits of reality capture. So everybody know reality capture, point cloud scanners, and everything? So really, that's what we're going to be talking about today, and at different ways of doing, do we hire a firm to do it, one of our contractors, our consultants? Do we bring it in-house, or do we rent it from a project to project? And what are the benefits and the not so good parts of it as well? So it's really kind of giving an overview and some things to really just to start to ask, because one of the big things is that when you start getting involved with point clouds or scanners or new technologies, is how do I know what to ask if I don't know? And I think that's the biggest thing. And the other big thing is really let us educate you on the various technologies that are out there and how can those be applied to what you do. And because the big thing is going to be, as we adopt new technology and do these things, how's that going to impact what I do? It's not just, it's a piece of software, it's new technology. It's how's that going to affect our workflows, our work processes? How's it going to integrate into our other systems that we have? Our FM systems, our TMA systems, our Archibus, our facilities management, real estate programs. So those other programs. But all that can start with reality capture, because we can take a look at, when we start to do scans and everything, how we can take those things in. But so we're going to start, we did the introductions. We're going to talk about whether to insource or outsource these things. Take a look at showing the project owner value, which will be for basically the university then, where some of these slides are going to probably be more pertaining to like my consultants. Why should those companies be using scanners and everything? And then we're going to be talking about some creating meaningful data and workflows and everything, and then wrapping it up. And that's Dan. He's with us. Like I said, he's in charge of our reality capture team, and we partner with Leica, and we do their scanners only, and we're able to do training as well as help you, do a project or be able to do a proof of concept. So as some people say, hey, that would be nice to have on our wish list, but we're going to need to make a case for it, and how is it going to, how will we be able to incorporate it into what we need to be able to do? So, and it's just not looking at it doing for your survey work. Let's talk about how is it going to be able to be used for your facilities, especially, your mechanical room, MEPs, systems, hard places to get, or outside for your buildings. Lots of different applications. So that's the big thing. So basically reality capture, once again, you're talking about 3D laser scanning, photogrammetry, radar, using LiDAR data, and just going back to your old thing. So lots of ways to be able to capture that data that's out there. But each way is a little bit different. And, going back to what you have already, hey, we've got our as-built drawings, but now, how up to date are those as-built? Do we know what is the most recent ones as well? Is it doing the most efficient way? So this is going to be one way that you would be able to get actual data, and it's going to be very accurate. So we're going to be talking, like 0.0000. It's that accurate there. And it's quick, it's easy to set up and be able to get that data that you want, and then be able to use it in your as-built thing, because it's a snapshot in time when you set it up. I have it. I scanned it, and it's going to show me that this is the actual conditions here for you. And now I can take it and I can use it in different ways then. So it's basically going to be then coming down, what do we want to be able to do? Do we want to outsource it to our consultant, hire somebody there? And so what they're basically looking at is going to be, well, we want you to scan this room. We're going to renovate this room. I want you to come in and scan it. Well, I've never done this before. So what do we need to do? If we hire them, they own the equipment. They'll come in, they'll scan it. Will they give us our deliverable for the point cloud? Or, do we look to purchase, So the big things here that they're basically saying is, if we hire somebody out, we don't have to pay for that scanner up front. We don't have to make that initial investment. They can come in, do it, and hand it off to us. Part of that is then when we start looking at doing a project, what are we going to be asking for? What do we want them to scan? Do we want them to, are we going to make sure they give us the point cloud when they're done? That's always, what are we going to ask for that deliverable in that point cloud, and make sure that we get it. So we want to make sure that we're able to look at the different needs, because we can ask them to be able to give us that information, but what do we want to be able to get from them is the big thing, and what are we looking to get out of that point cloud versus our as-built right now. Do we know? Are they accurate? We might say they're fairly accurate, but we're not quite sure. So this way would be one way that you can make sure that you have your accurate as-built there for you. Now then, some of the outsourcing firms here, where, once again, this is kind of where this slide is looking towards what the other people are saying is, yeah, we tried it, but wasn't that great for this particular project. So when you start looking at using a scanner or reality capture, you want to make sure that you have a right project for it. So because you want to make sure that it's the right project, that the benefits are going to be there, that you're going to be able to make your business case to your boss, and his boss is going to have to go up to it, because they're going to say, why should we do it this way? What is going to be the benefit for us? What is going to be that payoff? That's the big thing here. And I really think on this slide, the big thing that jumps to me really is education. Because a lot of folks hear a lot about reality capture, scanner, point clouds, but what do we do with it? How do we handle that information? What are we going to do with it? Because you're going to be talking about large sets of data, because the point clouds are going to have millions and millions of points of point clouds in there. It's going to be huge. So it's not going to be now, okay, we scanned it, but now where do we store it? Well, okay, We got to make sure IT, we have the proper hardware, the software to be able to use this data as well. Then, how are we going to incorporate it into our workflows and processes? Because that's going to change those things as well. Then, you can rent the hardware. You can go out, Leica rents their hardware. You can rent a scanner, and do a project and be done with it. But as it's mentioning up here, that's good for some small projects, a few throughout the year. But then part of it is, do I remember how to use the scanner? Or, if I do it from time to time, it's like you might think that, oh wait, how did I do that the last time? And it's like, once again, if I do it on a consistent basis, I get better at it. But if I do it just a few times, it's the learning curve. It's like trying to go back and think of how I do it. So the startup costs, you don't have that large investment because you're not making it, going out and purchasing it. So, but it's there, but it's not the greatest way of doing it. So you're trying to find that balance of what is going to be right for me or for us as a university. What is the best way to be able to do those things? And this is just one of the other ways is part of the renting piece, the big one would be down there is that, hey, you know what? We know that we get the latest one that's out there, because it's the most current, as long as they have it. But, we're going to be able to look at it. But, software, the scanners, are huge improvements. As I heard somebody mention over here, we looked at it, 7-8 years ago. Boy, that technology has really exploded these last couple of years that we're seeing our clients using it more and doing more projects with it. And I even heard somebody the other day here, I do believe it was, where they basically said, you know what, when we do use the scanner or we have a project, we ask for the point cloud and the model itself. So that there is a big change on how things were previously done in that as well. So then this would be the big one, in-house, hey, as a university, do we want to go out and purchase one ourselves? That is the big thing, because you are going to have an initial higher cost up front and everything, but as we start to use it more on the projects, we're going to become more efficient in it. But yet we can open it up for using it on various projects, whether it's a renovation, doing a MEP system that we have to replace above, or are we going to be able to bring in new equipment to replace old equipment? Is there going to be enough room there? We can use it on the outside of the building as well. If we're adding an expansion as well, we can use it in various ways for these projects and everything. But, one of it is going to be, how do we maintain these things? As they're saying here, depending on where you live in the country, I can use it for half of the year, or can I use it the full time? But there's lots of ways that you can be able to use it out there for these projects. As a service supervisor, these are using it in different projects and everything. So kind of what we were just talking about, that we can use it in facilities in multiple ways there to make sure that we're going to get the accurate as-builts, renovations, and new projects, inside or outside, that we would be able to use there. So now this part is going to be showing the project owner value. So this is where we could say, as the university, for the facilities folks, we can say, where's the value in it for us? We can take a look at being able to do the validation, being combine existing as-built with the original, verify retrofits and changes over time. Now, another thing that we are starting to see is that, we start the renovation. Now, if we rip out the wall, we have our wall down or we have new construction going up. And, the contractor comes in and sees, well, that pipe's there, but, on my drawing, I've got to move my light over here. And he said, well, I can either submit a change order and wait for it to make its way through the process and get back to me, or I'm just going to go ahead and make these changes here. And, I'll put it here on my drawing and they'll get it later. Well, as it happens already, most people, it seems like when you do get your drawings after the project, it could be 3 months, 6 months, a year, or longer. But in that time, you already had to come back and maybe fix something, or somebody else comes in. Now what happens? Well, I just hit it, but I didn't know that pipe was there. So, it's, well, wait a minute, if I had the scan for pre-construction purposes, I know now that on this date, this is accurate before that wall was closed up. I have now my own accurate as-built showing me where those pipes, the conduits are there. So it's looking at validating that as-built. Now I know that I have it. Or if a contractor comes back and there's something different from what they're saying and telling you, you have that validation there. Monitoring, it's the same thing. It's basically keeping an eye out on how that construction is coming along there in the facilities and the changes. It's a good way of bringing in that new technology there for it. The design there as well, like the big one to me is like the clash detection. You're going to be able to see, is it going to fit there the right way? We did, one of the projects we did with our one client was they had some equipment that they needed that was in the basement coming out. So they were changing out like their heating system. It was very old and the new one was going in. And so the opening was, let's just say, like 10 feet. Well, the new one coming in was going to be 9 3/4, So I'm not going to have much space on either side when we take that out, and making sure that the new equipment is going to be able to fit in there. So it's going to be, yes, it's going to fit. We're showing the tolerances on each side is going to give us the space to get that equipment in there. Not at the last moment that, hey, we're bringing it in, we can't fit it in there. Now what do we do? Well, we got to knock down some more of that wall to be able to get it in there. So it's even in that pre-planning stage that you're going to be able to say, yes, we've got enough room, we're going to be able to fit this in there. So it's taking that data that, hey, we know it's going to fit in there. We've got this point cloud. It's showing us everything that we need, and we're putting it into the programs and the models, and it's showing us that it's going to fit there into it. And it's just giving you that value of that point cloud is going to be able to say, what else can we do with that point cloud there? So it's just going beyond that standard deliverable, is bringing value there for you. And once again, the applications are various out there that people are doing, and we're always hearing new things that people are doing with them. I think we're really just seeing it, even though more people are doing it. I think the applications are just going to be growing more and more because we work with companies and federal agencies that are doing these processes more only because they're already burdened with a lot of work as it is, and you're not getting more people on the staff that you have. So it's finding more ways to bring technologies in to help with the jobs that you guys need to be able to do. That's the big thing. And this is, just part of it, showing kind of like of a scan that you can see that, hey, yeah, that's going to be accurate. And then I can take my scan and bring it into additional software then, into my models and everything there. Here was like one, for a, where is that one at? Looks like an oil filter or something there. But, you can take that and scan it, in places that are, you can say dangerous. I don't want my employees to get hurt or anything there. Let's scan it and we can bring it into, our Revit program, and I can build off of that point cloud. We, even within this program here with a few people, that I spoke to, we have our, this pipe here. We can scan that, and with that we can take that and use like our program like Scan to BIM, where, hey, I've got a scan, I know certain parameters on that pipe, and our program can build off of that geometric then and finish out those calculations and everything. So it's really being able to apply it in various ways that your as-builts might not give you certain data. You're not quite sure, are these things really up to date? Where scanning is going to be able to help you with that there for you. And in this case here, what they're basically showing you is that they're letting you know that what some people are doing is, in older buildings that have very ornate details, that they'd be able to scan that, and they can even send that out then to a manufacturer and use it as a mold. So if you have to replace something, well, we have it now there. So the detail that it's able to get, it can scan that there for you. So we're seeing that with, national monuments, parks, and that's where they're using these types of technology. I know state of Michigan was looking at doing something like this like a few years ago and everything. So just trying to give you different ideas of the applications that you can be able to use there for you. And Leica is coming out with, or like this is part of their TrueView there, that they're going to be doing more applications with the cloud and everything, that you'll be able to start to pull that up and have a lot more information there on your iPhone, if you have an iPhone, your iPad and everything. So they're getting more mobile apps out there and everything for you. let's see here. That one there was, I think on this one here, they're just being able to show you the, like, where you can take like different, where you can set up your scanners with different angles and everything. So basically, you know, when you do a scan, if we scan this room, you know, I'd be able to set the scanner up in the middle of the room and scan this room very quickly. The only part that the scanner is not going to be able to see is what is directly underneath it. But if I put my scanner in each of the four corners, once I have that scan, then basically I bring those point clouds together. Basically, it's called registration, that you line those up and you bring those point clouds like this so they'll line up perfectly. That way then that they're all aligned, and then I can take that into, let's say, Revit. And once I have that point cloud in Revit, I then create my model from it. So it saves a lot of time there. So we're going to get into like creating the meaningful data and workflows. So with the point clouds, so there's various ways then that you can use them. You know, you've got your, basically the native format, and bear with me, I don't know the different types of the formats and everything, you know, there. Basically, you know, the point cloud can be modeled into solid geometry basics, and then and into a BIM deliverable. So basically, you know, with the point cloud, you know, you can see when it's there that it's going to give you that outline. If I scan this ceiling here, I can have it where when I look at that point cloud, I am going to see the grid lines up here. They're going to be, I can look at it and I can tell where those are at. I can see the separation between it, because that's how detailed that I can set that setting for it. You know, you know, you can have it for a light, medium, or heavy scan. It all depends what you're scanning and the level of details and the size that you're trying to do. Then basically, you know, once I have that, you know, I can do it then in a, I can see the geometry objects, I can see how they are set up there for those things. And then basically going in down into the BIM deliverable, once I have that point cloud, I can go through a process to take it into BIM and to build off of that. So I don't want to make it sound like super easy, that it's just, okay, I just scan and just plop it into another system, because there's various ways that you can handle the point cloud. You know, you have it, you can do it in Revit. You have Recap. Leica has various softwares, you know, like CloudWorks, and there's other programs out there. Part of like with our ScandiBIM and being able to move that point cloud around it, you want to make sure that you have the proper hardware and software to be able to do it, because the point clouds are very large depending on your project. And the last thing you want to do is have that point cloud on your desktop and I can't work with it. It's not going to help you, you know, or you're just going to get very frustrated having to wait, you know, 2 minutes just to be able to move that point cloud just a little bit, because it comes back to having that value of that data there. That's the big thing. You want to be able to use it in a way that is efficient for you. That's why we're talking about, you know, being able to use the point cloud, because it's going to give us that accurate as-built. But if I can't use the data, it doesn't do me any good. And that's where a lot of people are going to be saying, oh, how's that going to benefit us? If we use this technology, what is my benefit? What am I going to get out of it? Just don't say that it's going to be an accurate ASPO. No, that doesn't cut it. We need to know, how's this going to improve our workflows and our processes. As some people will say, well, I've got to come back in and remeasure. Well, if you scan it once, that's all you need to do, because it's going to give you that accurate. I don't have to worry about going back and remeasuring, because I can get that information from the point cloud that I need. So if I need to know if this is just 8 foot, hey, I can go back in there and I can measure it, that it's going to give me that data. Or, hey, did I miss something in the room? No, because I scanned it already and I have that accurate information at my fingertip. I don't have to go back and redo it. That's the beauty of it, because it eliminates some of those things that come up over time and everything. So once again, it's that snapshot in time, because I have it now as it is. So once kind of what I was just talking about, you got your field work, your data collection, data registration, bringing those point clouds together, your data cleanup, model creation, and then the final deliverables and everything. So along the way, there are different tools that you would be able to use, and when you set this up, I'm no expert in this, but the scanners that they are easy to use. Setup is very easy to set up and be able to scan, and working with the data and being able to get the job done quicker. As some people will say, it takes us X amount of time to go out and verify what is in this room that we're going to need to measure. Here I can just bring the scanner in, set it up, scan it. In a few moments I have the information that I need, depending, once again, what you want to be able to scan. Is the big thing there for you. This one here is really talking about the field work there for you. Most people, when you do see the scanner, where we're set up out there, Leica is there, they did some scans of the room yesterday and everything. And, the laser, it is eye safe and everything. So, people always have concerns, seeing the scanner going and having the red dot going. It is eye safe out there. You can use it, in hot conditions, in the rain as well, out there. So, range, speed, accuracy, it's all there with the technology for these systems. So we're seeing these things come into consideration when people are looking at how is this technology going to help us and everything. So on this one here, with data registrations, factors for the success and everything is, once again, this is bringing those point clouds together there. And this is talking about with the survey practices, but those survey, once again, the same application applies into the facilities piece of it as well. They're bringing those point clouds together and everything there for you. When they talk about targets and everything, when people are using the scanner, they're basically taking this circle right here and they're going to put it up on the walls in various parts, and that's what the scanner would use to pick up. Or if if you didn't want to use those, that's where then you like pick a point that would say, okay, that's going to be my spot that I go off of, and use that as my target and everything. So on this data cleanup part, we're talking about all the different segmentations that they have here, and I'm not sure of everything that goes into that part of it, but with the data cleanup, you can eliminate certain things from the point cloud. So if you had it outside and it happened to start to rain, or it can, if a car was driving by, it could pick up the cars there, but you can go in there and remove that. You can basically say that noise from the point cloud. So I have what I need in the point cloud that eliminates that noise there from it for you. So then this part is with the model creation there. Once again, the scanners. Oh, please.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Quick question on your last slide. You were saying that you could work with a unification of the point clouds, so you can scan the outside and the inside of a building and work with those together.
Yes. So so I can scan the outside. The scanner can only see what it can see. So if we scan the outside of the building, we would have that shell.
Yeah.
And and then once I have that, I can then, let's say, take that into Revit. And then once I have that part in Revit, I then can go in there and then fill in the details, or the families and the classification, saying, okay, now it is, rock or brick, and it's going to be X amount of thickness there. I can start to build off of that, because what most people will look at is, well, how do we take our existing stuff, or where do we begin? And that's a good part to build off of. Well, give us the shell, then I can bring in my CAD floor plans, then I can just start to build off of that. So it's really just starting. Yes, if they line up, exactly. But that's what some people just want to be able to do is, let's start here. It's one place to begin.
Do most people who do it work outside in or inside out? Mix in the building?
I'm going to probably say it. I don't know, but I think it probably is going to be depending on the project, or where do they want to begin, because as people move to BIM, most of them will say, well, where do we begin? Or if we even, let's say, start here with the point cloud, well, where do we begin? Well, it's starting with the first project, and it's saying, and moving forward and saying, okay, once we start here, this is how we're going to be able to do it moving forward. That's, as they always say, the hardest step is that first step. And what I like to let people know is, let us take those steps with you, or even before you take that first step, talk to us. That's what we're here for. Is really, it's to educate people about the new technology that's out there, because at times it's like, yeah, we're hearing all these things, but how is that going to apply to us? And And it's all about educating people. To me, that's the biggest thing. Yeah. Before we get there, yeah, let's talk, let's walk through this process, because there's a lot involved with it. It's going to be, as you were saying, well, where would we begin? Should we start on the inside? Should we start on the outside? It's like, well, it would come back to, what do you want to accomplish? What are you looking, what problem are you looking to solve? Or what is the project about? How could, scanning, let's just use the outside as the example. Okay, let's compare being able to use the scanner and the point cloud versus our traditional method of how we're doing it now. Because as you do that exercise, somebody's going to say, well, what's in it for me? What's going to be the cost? What is my return on investment? And I think we, from this morning presentation with Chuck, the big thing is that it's all about, really, it's the data and everything as we move forward. And as that building over time, if it takes us so much longer to get what we need, that's where those inefficiencies are. It's how can we eliminate those inefficiencies and be able to do things better? And that way we can make a stronger case for you, so when you go to your boss and be able to say, this is why we need to be able to do this. And as well as, looking at other universities and companies that are doing this, that you can make your case for it. Because from what I've learned here these past couple of days with the CFTA is that you all talk to one another. You stay well informed with each other, and communicating and letting everyone know, hey, here's how we're doing something this way, and sharing information and ideas and learning from each other. And that's really how things really, to me, start to take off, and what I would like to and hope to be able to do with some of this information. And I know some of the schools are already using the scanners and the point clouds. So, but if I don't have an answer for you as well, I'll certainly get you. So we got one there. And then, I guess for the final deliverable there, factors to success there for you guys is going to be, the point cloud and extracted model data delivery method, weight of the delivered data. I was talking with somebody earlier, and they're like asking about the different files and everything, and I said, I'll have to check on it and get back to you, because there's various ways that that data can be exported there for you. And once again, being able to have that point cloud, you can share it with other people. And how can we best use that data? Minimize data duplication, because I guess the last thing you want is being able to have about 10 point clouds of the same thing sitting on your server. I don't think IT would care for that too much. So. But things to take into consideration there. And then that was, Dan's contact information there at the end there. So, but if you, have any questions, for me, open it up there for you. And if I don't have the answers, I will certainly get them for you. Or we can always schedule conference calls or WebEx and show you this, or try to get out on site to talk to you guys more about these types of technologies there.
What's the typical type of target that you're using? Are you using the spheres or paper targets, combination of both?
Typically, it's a combination of both. And one of the things that I've learned from my technical team is when they're using that spear that they showed, is you slightly tilt it just like a little bit. You just tilt it just a small, because the scanner is going up and down like this, reading it. So if it's going straight up and down, it's going to hit it, and it doesn't take it wrong. But if you just slightly turn it just a tad, when that scanner is going, it's able to hit that target better, to read that target. So that's one thing that I learned as a little tip for people. But yeah, they use those targets, or they're either they buy them or they print them, because I know they're expensive. Yeah.
I saw some kind of target, but then it said target less in the slide. I got a little confused.
Let's see here. So like when we're talking about targets, they have basically an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and that target looks like this. And so you just basically just turn it just a little bit, so when the scanner is going up and down, it hits this line there, and that's where it gets technical for me in regards to that line. But if you just tilt it just a little bit, it picks it up, but yet you're still able to use it within that area. So on those targets. And some people will use the targets, but then others will, when they're doing a scan, they might say, okay, I'm going to use the corner right up there as my target.
So you use a couple targets with a known distance, or you measure the height of the wall and you know that distance.
Yeah, you don't need to know that going into it. It's just saying, this is where, when I set my scanner up, it's going to be based on.
All your point clouds will overlap enough that you've got that point that it'll recognize.
Different point clouds, you have a common point. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. Yes. Yep. So that's why we want to be able to help people, educate and ask, like you are asking these questions, because it's new technology for a lot of them, and what's going to be the benefit for us. Because do we do it in-house? Do we have our contractors do it? What's the best solution for us? That's really what, and each school is different, each company is different, they're all, you can make your case for each one, but it's going to be what's best for you, for each job, yeah. And as well as it's going to come back to, how's it going to change our workflow and our work processes? That's one aspect, as well as you can look at, do we have the proper hardware? Is my computer going to be able to handle it? But these are things that you want to consider, or I want to say you take into consideration before jumping into it, because it is an investment, and as well as it's, IT is going to have some say in it as well. So, but the technology, though, it's there, once again, to help people. That's, to me, is the biggest thing, is that working with governments and public universities is that over these past few years with everything that has happened, you're not getting additional staff. It's like your work is there and you're limited on what you can be able to do. And one way that can be done is to be able to help you is through technology. And I know working with a lot of governments that people want to be able to do the best that they can. And part of that is with technology, because it can help them do their projects. And you know what? It comes back to now we've got accurate information as well. And then, what do we do with that data? A whole host of topics to be covered on that side of things as well. So, yeah.
How does it deal with really small spaces or crawl spaces, things like that, where
You can, I guess when you say small,
I'm thinking like
yeah.
tunnels,
So
chases,
yeah,
crawl
you
spaces?
can take the scanner. People put it on like little casters, they'll have a platform, and you can take it and push it along to scan it.
Okay.
Or for those small places, or underneath, or like a small, say like a small tunnel, or if it's a large pipe that you want to be able to put in there through it.
Yeah, we have crawl spaces all under this whole complex of dorms. And so every now and then they've got to go find the shut-off valves, and they have a new guy crawl all through the crawl spaces.
Yep. So in that case, so I can say probably most likely in that case, you would be able to put it down there. You could sit it on the floor, and it's going to, I don't know those distances because, there's various ones that, but, let's just say shoots out 100 feet and it will go out as far as it can scan. But that's where then you move it from spot to spot, and then you register it. Then you bring those point clouds together, and it can pick up those types of things then, now that we have it that way. Yes.
Our experience with smaller spaces is you have to increase the number of scans you're doing because there's more interference. So instead of a large room where you can get away with not very many scans, you'll end up doing them much, much closer together and have to do more stitching.
That makes sense. Yeah. So we had some buildings, our operations guys come in all the time and they want the drawings for the crawl spaces. It's like we don't have sustaining drawings for those crawl spaces that show where those pipe runs connect to, where they stub up into the building, and that's the kind of thing that would really help. We deal with that kind of thing a lot. We're looking at as-built roller systems inside the buildings.
Yeah, interstitials are tough, giving in good information. But,
Yeah, we're actually looking at adding those to our space inventory too, and creating a numbering scheme for those.
non-assignable space, we have to put it in as
Yeah, we'll actually count non-assignable space, but these are like attics and things like that are not being counted. So even more than non-assignable, they're non-usable spaces in a lot of cases, but we're starting to track all of those too.
And that's when we do projects, working with customers, it's, being on site with you and going through that process to be able to say, okay, in this scenario here, this is how you would go about setting up the scanner. You can say, set it up here, here, here. As Ray was saying, you got you want to get it into a tighter configuration, to make sure that these are the multiple interferences, if you got a lot of things popping up underneath there, you're going to need to have more points or more setup spots to be able to tie things together. And that's kind of like with some of the programs that we came up with our scan to BIM. If I got this pipe sitting here, I can start to use it where it's going to configure, the rest of it with the geometric configuration. We'll do that. But yeah, the setup is, it is the key, trying to figure out, how much is the space that you need and how many setups am I going to need. So, but that's how we go through these projects with our clients to educate them on that and to show them how to properly set it up and everything. So those are all good questions, to think about, hey, here's how we could use it for that crawl space. That's a good way.
Yeah, so we're just looking at different ways to see how we can add build some of those systems. Get them.
Yeah, and I'm sure the guys would love you, because that way then they don't have to go back and crawl underneath there.
Yeah. Well, at least not very often.
Yes.
Well, good to go.
They'll probably make it do that anyway.
Disposable. Direction.
Yeah, I have managed to not have to so. Well, some of them are nice.
Yes.
Where do you see technologies like terrestrial photogrammetry and some of the things like Google Project Tango that can generate a point cloud, maybe not to the survey standards of these laser scanners, but certainly at a fraction of the cost? Where do you see that?
I will have to get back to you on that one, because I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it at that, because my other gentleman would probably be able to answer that question a lot better. So I'll make a note of that and have him reach out to you, because I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think it's going to continue to increase. The technology is getting better.
Yeah.
The accuracy is getting better, but it depends upon what your end use is. I would not use it for a demolition guide or for new construction, because your distances as you get up towards the ceilings and further out, they're not anywhere near what laser scanning is.
Oh, yeah.
But as a good representation for the workers, I think it's going to be the next thing that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's
and it'll
getting
be your
so
first
cheap
choice
and
before.
really accurate these days that, man, $100,000 for a scanner versus
Yeah.
$500 for a tablet that you can walk through
Well,
the room and get some
and
pretty
yep.
good measurements.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you can go out there for the scanners, 10,000, 100,000. It's, what is the job that you're looking to do?
Sure.
What data, are you looking to gather? How the accuracy, how close or how far do you need to be away? Or, how tall of a building am I trying to get? So that's where, the scanners are different, between them. Because you got Trimble, Faro, and Leica. We partner with Leica, and but at the same time, we can still use the point cloud information from those other ones as well. Because there's other software. How do we process that point cloud? But it's educating the people on the differences between the 10 and 100,000, because of course, if you had it and you took it to your boss and says, here, this is what I would like to purchase, and the boss looks at it, he'll see 100 versus 10, and it's like, I'll spend 10, but was it the right tool for the right project? That's where education comes in. And being,
Fast technology is changing too. You hate to invest $100,000 in a scanner. and the Technology makes another jump forward.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. Because we know, working just with Leica this year, they came out with some new scanners this year. So that's one thing about technology. it's constantly changing, as you all are aware, it's constantly changing, and how's it going to fit into what you're looking to accomplish and the problems and issues that you're looking to solve. You know, that's what we want to be able to let people know is, you know, that's what we're here for, is to understand the problems that you're looking to be able to solve, and let you know what we can do to help you, or if we don't have the solution, or if we're not able to do it, we'll let you know. But it's really about educating people on what technology is out there. Any other questions? Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for attending. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you.